ICS3U, Lesson 2 on Unit 3, Input from Files. Last class we were writing stuff from our programs out to a file, and in this class we're going to try and retrieve information from text files, and that's the goal. So again, we've got a word processing document here. I'm using Smart Notebook again just because I can reveal stuff to you as we go, but we do want to have ready open here so we can go back and forth. I'm going to, instead of using the HSA console, I'm just going to use the regular application template, and I'm going to call this input try, or you could call it whatever you want, doesn't matter. And notice that a lot of the junk is kind of stripped out of this, so fine. It's all good. We'll see we can get there. So just like yesterday, we need to import the java.io.star library to include the classes. That's an important line when we're reading and writing from files. So there, we're going to need to import. Import goes at the start. Import java.io.star. I've got mail. Good. Dandy. Still nothing going on yet, but let's see. Similarly, we must also include the throws IO exceptions. Remember, we talked about this last class. When we're dealing with files, there's a good chance, better than normal chance of an error happening that that Java doesn't know how to handle, and it asks us how they would like to handle it. And so this line here, remember what it does? It just says, Java, you decide how you're going to handle it. And later in this unit, we'll be handling those errors ourselves. But for now, we're just going to put the throws IO exception business in there. All right, here we go. Yesterday was file writer, but now it's buffered reader. Buffered reader is the class that allows us to specify where we'd like input to come from. So here's the syntax. Buffered reader, BR equals new buffered reader, and then the input source. So whatever the input source happens to be. So I'm going to include that line. Buffered reader. Reader input, right? I'm going to call that BR. But remember, anything, we call this anything we want to. You know, sometimes, since we're going to set up the first one to be from the keyboard, that buffered reader keyboard or something like that, I'm going to change that later anyway. So new buffered reader. And then in the brackets goes where we would like the input to come from. An input source changes depending on where we want the input to come from. And notice this is what made this ready to program, the IDE that we're using, pretty awesome, because getting data from the keyboard is kind of a pain in Java, and we're learning this right now. For data from the keyboard, the input source is an input stream reader. Input stream reader. Okay, so in here, in our ready program, and I've got more note to do here. We're going back and forth. This is going to be an input stream reader, and notice right there, that is a variable as well. And so there's, just like there was 2 steps to the file writing, there's 2 steps to the file reading as well. And so input stream reader ISR, input stream reader, and then in the brackets where we're going to get this input stream from. This is, and when we're talking about an input stream, this would be data in that's not from a file, but in this case from a keyboard, or it might be from a modem or something like that. Who knows? But this is from the keyboard if we call it system.in. Just like system.out was the normal output, system.in is the normal input. Okay, back to the note, we'll put that in there. So the syntax for the input stream reader is input stream reader ISR equals new input stream reader system in. This command is similar to the file writer command from yesterday, but sets up an input stream from the keyboard. Okay, so this is connecting the keyboard to our program. Okay, everything looks fine and dandy here. So we might want to see if this is going to work just by going, okay, from the buffered reader, we're going to get some stuff from the keyboard. So, and we're going to jam it into a string variable. BR keyboard, kind of long, keyboard dot read line. Very similar to the Java console, but this isn't Java console. There's no C's involved. C.console. That's not nowhere to be found. This is actual real Java that works in any IDE. So that's gonna read that, and then let's see if we actually get something in. So I'm gonna just go system.out. This is like a print writer that's gonna just put it out to the screen. You typed plus whatever you typed plus a period. Good for you. Oh. And then remember, oh, this isn't from files. I was going to say we should close our files, but we don't have the files. This is straight from the keyboard. So let's see if this works. All right, so we didn't prompt anything. Pretty bad user interface here, but this is this line right there. It's asking me to put something, and I'll put hello world. Then I press enter. You typed hello world, good for me. And that's it. And notice this is the built-in Java console. It's not the HSA console. That's all good. All right. So that's all working. No HSA console, that's working. Notice we've done nothing with files yet, but just this step without the HSA console was a pretty big step. So I want you to, so the entire thing looks like, I want you to copy that into your notes. So you get this idea of connecting your program to the keyboard without using the HSA console. Again, just copy, go to ready and just copy all this and paste it into your note. Okay, so you have a copy of that. What we really want, though, of course, is to go from a text file, right? We would like to, instead of connecting our program to the keyboard, which we were already able to do, we want to connect our program to an input file, a text file. And how we do that is we change the input source from our Inputstreamreader. Inputstreamreader was a keyboard, a hardware source. The file reader is going to be like a software source. So instead of an Inputstreamreader, we're going to use a file reader. Okay, and there is the syntax. So let's go back to our ready program, and I'm just going to comment out the Inputstreamreader, and I'm going to put in its place a file reader. And of course, the input source isn't going to be the keyboard because its keyboard isn't the file. I'm going to put in, I said whatever, but this is some text file. This is some text file. Okay, and it says note, remember, just like I did, that the file reader goes first, then the buffered reader. Set up a connection to a file, then you use the buffered reader to come into your program. You have to have a whatever.txt file. So if we were in this program right now, it would, whoops, this isn't the right one. It would bomb out because I haven't got a whatever.txt file. And I'm going to save this in my temporary directory. You should save it in your notes directory. So I'm going to save as input fry in there. But out in my temp directory, wherever it is, I got stuff all over the place. I don't have a whatever.txt. I have that file that I used last class, but I'm going to have to make a new file, a new text file. I'm going to call it whatever.txt, and then put something in here. Line 2, whatever, almost done, and then end. And I'm going to save this. So this actually got 5 lines in it. And so now what have I got? I've got my file reader is connecting to that text file, and I want the buffered reader then not to connect to the input stream reader, but to the file reader, right? And right now it says it's a keyboard buffered reader. Again, this doesn't matter. I'm just going to delete that off there so it doesn't say keyboard, so that's not misleading. Buffered reader file, I could call it, or something like that. And then it's going to say you typed something, so maybe I don't want that. Maybe I just want to print it back out. Text found was that. And I'm going to run this. Save it, run it. Uh-oh. Stream cannot find the file specified. So what did I do wrong? I thought I had, maybe whatever.text, the system cannot find the file specified. So there was an error. Is that because I forgot to save my whatever.text in the right spot? Save as whatever.text in the temp file. I wonder if this is in the right spot. Input file, save as. And put this in there with whatever. It should be okay. What's the problem? Okay, mystery solved there, folks. What happened was when I saved my notepad document, I put a .txt on it, knowing it would be a whatever.txt file, knowing it's a text document. But then Notepad went ahead and put another .txt on there as well. So I'm going to rename that with just having whatever, and then in my file, it should work now. Okay. Strange things, computers, but oh well. Save, run, and then it gets that only the first word in my whatever file, right? So this isn't that great because I'd like it to read all the stuff from that file and print it out to the screen. So what I'm going to do is put a little loop in here. So it's going to read the first line, and then I'm going to say while something is not equal to null. Now null is a value that means absolutely nothing. It doesn't mean 0. It means like not found, nothing there. And so we're going to print out. We want this line in our while loop. Indent. And then, of course, we want to read the next line so that it'll be ready to check the next time up through the loop. And notice there's more than one ways to do this. We could have done a do while, and then it would have checked it once, and maybe that would be a cleaner way to do that. But this should be okay. And then remember, since we're handling files now, we should close the file at the end. Close our buffered reader at the end. And let's see if that'll work, if that'll pull all the text from the file. Save, run, bam, bam, bam. Text found was, text found was, text found was, and then no more text on the end. Everything was great, and it printed it out to the file. Awesome. A little live problem solving there from Mr. Restall too. I think back in the note, make sure you have a whatever.txt file. Note, we can use a while loop to get all the text from the file, and I showed you that. And then, of course, because this is the way we do, on your note, I want you to copy whatever program that you wrote in there, so you can see the example of the file reader and buffered reader, and then also the loop that that got everything from the file. And if you wanted to try and tidy this up to make a do while loop instead of a while loop, you go right ahead and feel free to do that. Okay, that's it. And there's some exercises that you're going to be copying code into your exercises as well. And that's all I have to say about that.